Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this devil platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely day in which the Most High Yah has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and will rest therein. Just coming again with another message. And I'm going to title it Deception of the Law. Again, deception of the law. And I'm going to move pretty fast. So I want to start off with a prayer. Precious Father, in the name of Yahuwah, I come unto you in your Son's name, Yeshua HaMashiach. I come unto you because you are all that answer. You are the beginning and the end. You are the up and the down. Father, you are so great and you're so excellent. You're so wonderful. You're so merciful. You're so powerful. You're so perfect. You're so good, Father. You're so all-knowing. You have all wisdom. You have all knowledge. And you have all understanding. Father, I just want to say thank you for being all power. Thank you for being the beginning and the end. Father, I just want to say to you, you are worthy to be praised. You are worthy to be glorified, uplifted. Father, and you are all that we have. You are all that we need. We must lay our head upon thy bosom and trust in thee, Father. You have brought us this far and never forsaken us. You have always had us stretched out and a right hand before us. We have turned our back over and over for thousands of years, even to the year of 2021. But we want to say, forgive us. We know that you have, because you continue to pour out that good grace and mercy upon us. And we forever want to learn and desire to continue to praise and worship and honor you. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, I thank you. Amen and amen. Okay. Now, I'm going to move pretty fast. And like I said before, this message is for certain ones. So I will say, if you are not an elect, move to another video. Go on over to another video, because this one will not be for you. It will not be for you. I wanted to start this video off in Romans, but the Most High said no, take them to Genesis. So I'm going to be obedient. He knows all things, and all things knows him. So I'm going to take you to Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, verse 16. And this here message is labeled Deception of the Law. We have heard many tell us what the law is, was, and going to be. But Sister Deborah is going to say something that is going to turn on a brighter light to the elects that are out. I'm coming in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, okay? Because I know who the HaMashiach is. You see, I know. So the Most High, he has given me, through the Ruach HaKodesh, much information this morning to go on. And I thank him for that. I truly thank him for his teaching. I thank him for his showing me things to come, showing me things that is before me, and while I'm in the wilderness, revealing it very clear to me. So I thank him for that. So we're going from Genesis chapter 2. We're going to start with verse 16. And this is the deception of the law. Now, going into Genesis chapter 2, verse 16, and we're going to cover 17. The Most High directed me here before I begin the lesson. And this is, I'm going to give it to you like he gave it to me. In verse 16, and Yahuwah command the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt truly die. The first thing, again, I wanted to go into Genesis, and the Most High Yah says no. We got to start this at the beginning. At the beginning, everything was deeply rooted in the heart of the Most High Yah. I find myself going back to the beginning to clear up the forward messages out of the book. And I find myself even being in the new, coming back to the old, and even in the old, going back to the new. But here the Most High want me to come from Genesis chapter 2 and 16 and 17 to say this. As you see, let's go over it one more time, verse 16 and 17. And Yahuwah commanded the man, saying, every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. Now this is what the Most High wanted me to say. People must understand what the law is. The law is simple. It is as simple as Sister Deborah picking up this here cup and drinking out of it. Okay? It is just that simple. Man has turned the law into a beast, and that beast has forever battled with others. The law is not a beast. Right here in Genesis chapter 2, verse 16 and 17 was the law laid down. It was the first law. Y'all want me to say to you, read Genesis 2, 16 and 17. That was the first law. He wants me to let you know the law is simply instructions and directions. Did not he give Adam instructions and directions? He even called it a command. He command man. You can see in here the command of the first commandment and the first law. You see that Yah had given man. Okay? So when we think of the law, Yah don't want you to look at it as an iron claw, one to try to divide people's belief because you have mastered the Old Testament in the Torah, and because you master it, you got the keys to the kingdom. No, you don't. Matter of fact, you are a long ways from home, because in Genesis, the law as they know it is fall under Torah. Have to understand it only fell under the flesh of man. It had no connection to spirit and truth. The law is only for the flesh of man. And because man had sinned, there was other laws set for the flesh of man and his sin. To correct his sin, law was given. But the Most High want me to tell you, get a piece of pencil and write this down. Law in the eyes of the heavens of the Most High Yah is simply what he gave Adam. Instructions and directions. So he said, stop using the word law and cover it with instructions and directions. Because that law in which many ever learned people and still learning and lost, they use it as an iron claw to gain authority over others. And that is vain and that is vax. So let me say this again. Y'all, want you to understand the first law was given to Adam. Did he keep it? Nope, but that was the first law. That was the first instructions and direction given unto man. Was it given to the woman? No, it was given unto man. Instructions and directions. Okay? So if he had given instructions and direction only to man, not to woman, did man keep the instructions and directions? A lot of people bypass that. They don't think of stuff like that. They don't even comprehend that. Is that the same law that Eve called herself quoting? Let's see. In the book of Genesis, the Most High Yah told Adam this. He said, and Yahuwah took, verse 16, Genesis 2 and 16. And Yahuwah command man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of knowledge and good and evil thou shalt not eat it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Now, who was the first instructions and directions given to? Adam, the man. So did the woman get instructions and directions? No, it was given unto the man. It's just like it is today. They got instructions and directions to their flesh that still today they cannot uphold. They cannot uphold. Why? Because they're still living in their flesh. So they will not and cannot uphold any law that was created for their flesh. Okay? So this is here what Adam did. This is the beginning, y'all. This is in Genesis 2 and 16 and 17. Verse 16 and 17. So what happened in Genesis 3 when it came down to Eve? Did Eve have the instructions and directions of the Most High Yah? Did Eve have the first law that Yah gave unto Adam? Let's see. Genesis 3 and verse 2 and 3. Let's see if Eve is quoting the same instructions and directions that Yah quoted to Adam. Let's see. Genesis 3 and 2 and 3. And the woman said unto the serpent, Genesis chapter 3, verse 2 and 3. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden. We may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden. Now, was that some instructions that the Most High gave Adam? Yes. That was the law. The law, as the world today trying to make it, is just simply instructions and directions. It has always been. It's where we in the flesh take it out of the order to get dominion over other people, to try to boost it to be something that it is not. It is simply instructions and direction. Law is simply instructions and directions, okay? So we say that Genesis 3, verse 2, when Eve said, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden. Is that something that the Most High said instructed and directed Adam to do? Yes, it is. Let's go to the next one, verse 3. Genesis 3, verse 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yah has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Is that the instructions and directions Yah gave to Adam? No, no, and no. You cannot match verse 17 upward, chapter 2 and 7, verse 17 of Genesis upward, Genesis 3 and 3. Why? Because Eve added something else that wasn't said to Adam. Where did that come in play? Someone needs to show me where he said, neither shall ye touch it. You see? Let's read what the Most High said in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 17. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. I don't hear where he said, nor touch. So why is Eve saying something in the instructions and directions that Yah did not say to Adam? Think y'all. That's the key. Yah wants you to know that the law, as man wants to claim it today, but it's just simply instructions and directions I gave to Adam. Eve quoted not the instruction and direction. Why? Where did she get something that was not quoted to Adam? She had to have gotten it from somewhere, because the only one that received the instructions and direction was Adam. Eve was not present. Okay? That's what the Most High wanted me to start you off with. Is give you something to think about. Okay, now we're going to go to Romans. That wasn't a part of the study for me, but it was a part of the Most High even giving me more to go on. I thank him for that, because that added on to some understanding. Oh, yes, it does. And a lot of people right here today that been in this walk for millions of years and still today never saw that. Never saw what we just talked about in Genesis. When you're dealing with the word law, you're going to hear Sister Deborah taking you back to the simpleness of it, and that is instructions and directions. Y'all want me to say to you, many will take you further in the word law to lose you, and they have done it in great numbers. That's why the falling away is amongst the whole house of Israel. They are falling away, and they have fallen away because of what many that come that said that they're learned, and they overly learned, and they think they can whoop you with a whip of wisdom and knowledge and understanding. But Yah wants you to understand, anybody can take this book and whoop you with it. Anybody. He said the reason why you got so many different denominations, because they done poured out so many things out of here, and they made it what they wanted to make it to be. And we're going to go over that. Okay, we're coming from Romans chapter 6, verse 14 and 15. We're talking about the law. Okay, for the sin. Okay, let's go here. Romans chapter 6, verse 14. Please follow me. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. Okay. Verse 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? Yah forbid. Let me explain something to you. Yesterday I said something, and I didn't realize the power in what I was saying, because I have lived with it. for so many years. So when I spoke it, I didn't realize the power that rests in what I was saying was potent for this whole book. You see, and that is understanding who Christ is. Who is this right hand? Who is this stretched out arm? Who is this? What has happened because people are ever learning and never coming to the knowledge? Where are they learning these things and never coming to the knowledge? Self-understanding, self-wisdom, self-knowledge. Like I say, self-understanding, self-opinion, self-centered, self-motivated, self-mindset, self-heart set, self-eyes, self-ears. And it's all serving their flesh. To where when it's time for the Most High, He's not in none of it. Because when you are ever learning and never coming to the knowledge, it's because the true knowledge doesn't rest in you, but your own knowledge. And that's the dangerous thing on the face of the earth, is to have your own understanding and call it the Ruach HaKodesh. And to have your own wisdom and call it the Ruach HaKodesh. And to have your own knowledge and call it the Ruach HaKodesh. And having your own personal opinion and calling it the Ruach HaKodesh. And having your own self-centered and calling it the Ruach HaKodesh. And having your own mindset and calling it the Ruach HaKodesh. Having your own heart and calling it the Ruach HaKodesh. Having your eyes, your own eyes to see and calling it the Ruach HaKodesh. Having only your own ears to hear and calling it the Ruach HaKodesh. When the people are like that, the Most High hands are off. He's not going to send His Spirit their way because they are so loaded with self-centered that everything that they're saying, every scriptures, every book, every Torah, every Hebrew, everything that they have is good enough to teach you. Because when they teaching you, they causing you to go to the broad gate. They're causing you to fall with the great falling away. Well, why would you say that, Sister Deborah? It's because they're giving you all their flesh. They're not giving you anything to lead you to the spirit of the Most High Yah. They got you coming to them for worshiping. They got you coming to their understanding. And yes, do they have understanding? Yes. Do they have wisdom? Yes. Do they have knowledge? Yes. Do they have an eye to see? Yes. Do they have an ear to hear? Yes. All in the flesh. Just like Satan, he wants the throne at one time. He know he ain't got nothing coming, but it wouldn't stop him from trying when that's how people are. They want what Yah stand for. They desire what Yah stand for. They want you to look at them like they are God. They want you to worship them like they are God. They want you to see them bigger than you can see yourself. They want you to see them as somebody. And that's what the beast media is for. A lot of us think it was created, and it's such a good, it was the beast knew exactly when he was creating these platforms. His right hand knew that the platform was going to use for his purpose. And it is. Even those that's on here, they don't even know that they are worshiping the beast in many ways. And matter of fact, 99.9. But you couldn't tell them because they thinking they worshiping the Most High God. These are the same ones that's going to stand before him and say, I did this, I knew this. And what are they going to mainly slang? That name. And everything they do, they're going to say that name. And what he's going to say, I never knew you. It's because the people don't understand why they are walking on the earth. They portray the devil's footstep, wanting to be a God. That's why they don't want to give him the glory. That's why they don't want to give him the lights. That's why they don't want to give him the praise. They don't want to give him the authority and the right to be uplifted. They want it all on their pages. And they don't feel nothing wrong with it. Nothing in their hearts. Because y'all said when they like that, Deborah, Stand down. And that's what he tell me. Stand down. Let them be. All that they little mind think that they are. If they can't see that they trying to grab all the glory, the honor, and the praise, that's on them. Let them stand in where they stand. Now, here in Romans 6 and chapter 6 and verse 14 and 15, let's read it again. It says 14, Romans chapter 6, verse 14. For sin shall not have dominion over you. Okay? For ye are not under the law. See, what people did, they didn't understand, and they don't understand today because they're not truly led by the Ruach. They're led by their father's teaching, their pastor teaching, their priests, their bishops, their moors, their seers, their watchmen, their prophets, their prophetess. They're led by that. They're not led by the Spirit. Because if they led by the Spirit, they would even take this verse here in Romans 6, verse 14. For sin shall not have dominion over you. Now, how is it sin? It's not going to have dominion over me. Watch this. For ye are not under the law. People don't understand where there is sin, there must be a law. Why? Because law is for sin and sin is for law. Let's say that again. Whenever there is sin, there is the law. Law is for sin and sin is for law. They come hand in hand. They stand right next to each other. They need one another. Let's go to verse, and it says, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. Grace is a favor. Grace is a favor. Did you know that in the beginning of the Bible to the end, when Yah favored somebody, he favored them. They stood for something. They were somebody. You see? Can nobody on the face of the earth be as famous and known as the people in this biblical book that were favored by the Most High Yah? Okay? So, if ye not, for verse 14, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. Grace mean favor. Favor mean grace. If you now are favored by Yah, then the law ain't got nothing to buckle up on you for. It can't, because you are favored. You are under grace, a different category. Okay, verse 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law? But under grace? Yah forbid. Yah is not telling us, okay, since you're not under the law, you can sin and it's okay. This to me is showing, to me especially as a prophet is in the wilderness being taught, the ignorant species on the face of the earth who can't comprehend what he's saying just in this verse alone, you still going to be lost without a cause and you're going to go to your grave. What do you mean? Let me show you what I mean. When you go to Hosea, chapter 4, Hosea. When you go to chapter 4 and verse 6, it says, my people are destroyed. Baby, you're going to be destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee. How are you getting the knowledge that is required not to be rejected? You would have to get it from his prophet or his prophetess. Listen to this. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed. He didn't have no problem with calling you his people. He had no problem calling you his people. And he ain't have no problem saying or destroy. You see, y'all don't get it. He don't play. He's letting you know my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. He don't have no problem saying that. He ain't have no problem calling you his people, and he ain't have no problem telling you you're going to be destroyed. Because, and then he telling you why you're going to be destroyed. Thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing that thou forgotten the law of thy Yah, I will also forget thy children. Now, what law is he saying here in Hosea? What law was he saying here in Hosea? What law? The law to the flesh. The law that he was given, that had been given to the flesh. This is the law that many who have practiced Torah and who have did their deepest study under the law. You see, he's saying, listen to this. My people that are destroyed for lack of knowledge, he didn't have no problem, because thou hast rejected the knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of Yah. I will also forget thy children. Forget thy children. See, what people don't want to accept, fathers, your ugliness rain all the way down that bloodline. And it ain't going nowhere. And this is what you're seeing today, the ugliness of the forefathers on down the bloodline. Okay, and he said here, and I will forget thy children. Now, what law is this that he's speaking of? He's speaking of the law that was given in the Torah or in Moses, the laws that he had given them. They still wasn't keeping it in Hosea. They didn't keep it in. They reject, you see, they reject the law even all the way up into even Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. They rejected. And what did they do? They sinned against him. So the law that was made for the flesh still couldn't be upheld. Why? You know Torah. You want to walk in Torah? Walk your tail in Torah. Because it's no, you can't find no righteous outside of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So walk your tail up in Torah today and think that you're going to uphold a law that existed back then. And here Yah is saying in Hosea. Let's read it again. Hosea chapter 6. My people, he's talking about the house of Israel, are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy Yah. And I will forget thy children. So Yah is saying, there was a law put out that our men would not uphold. So that same law, if you think it in the year of 2021 or in the old, you could uphold this same law that you kept rejecting for us the knowledge and rejecting the law itself and everything that Yah had put before you. What was the law then, y'all, that Yah is speaking of? Let me show you how simple and relaxing it could be. Let's go over it again. Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. The whole house of Israel are destroyed. No, we can't say the whole. My people, Israel, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because they have rejected knowledge. So rejecting knowledge is something they done, not something somebody done unto them. It's what they done unto him. I will also reject thee. So he gonna do something toward you. Who is you? My people. That thou shalt be no priest to me. You're not gonna be nothing to me. Watch this here. Seeing that thou hast forgotten my instructions and my directions. See how simple it is. When you look at the whole Old Testament, they never, the house of Israel never wanting to abide by Yah's law. They never did. They couldn't even uphold it. And this is what he's saying in Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. Let me say that it's seeing that thou hast forgotten my instructions and my direction of thy Yahuwah, I have given thee. You all simply just forgot me. Yah, I will also forget thy children. You see? This is what was going on back then. So if anybody wants to teach you Torah and want to bring you back and try to get y'all to really celebrate what they didn't do right then, y'all bypass them. Because what they're doing is, it is so easy for them to start a newfound religion or belief, or their pages on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter's, Patriot, and all these other places, misleading you from the end of the Torah. Because there they can really lose you. You can get lost because they know that they can lose you there. That's why I call this topic the deception of the law. Okay, now those were two verses that Hosea, the Spirit, led me to. Okay, so I didn't lead myself to Genesis and to Hosea. That was the work of the Most High Yah. Now we're going to go to Galatians. And in Galatians chapter 5, verse 18. In Galatians chapter 5 and verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. What law is that he's talking about? The law of the flesh. The law that's connected to sin. And sin connected to that law. Why? Because sin can't have dominion over the spirit that is leading you. So if the sin can't have dominion over the spirit that is leading you, nor is the law going to be abide to you. To me, it feels like everything people have been teaching is about stripping the power of Yah. Because when people don't know who Christ is, they could care less what they're teaching, because they think the power is in their hand to teach this thing the way they want it. Okay, let's read Galatians chapter 5 and 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, that's the spirit of the Ruach, ye are not under the law. Understand what law that is. That law is the law of the flesh. Now, as Sister Deborah have told you all time after time, if there is a law under the flesh, that is the law of Torah and the law back in the old. You're no longer under that law if you are led by the Spirit. Why? Because the Spirit is the law. How dare we strip the law of who Yah is, all power, and tell him, even though he's going to reign in me, I'm going to have to uphold the law of the flesh. We ain't got no right to make him lesser than what he is. He is all power. How dare we? Listen to Galatians chapter 5 and verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, do you not see that Spirit and who that is? Ye are not under the law. How could Peter walk on water while the Savior is standing there? How could the boat and the ship in which Yeshua was on tossing and turning and he sleep and they up at the top hooping and hollering thinking that the storm and the waves is going to take them out when the Savior is on the ship? What has happened to us? We have stripped who Yah is and his power that rests therein. So yes, today it's going to be a day of hellfire. Because so long have we stripped his power and made it of man. You don't need a law if the lawgiver is living in you. That is the law of the flesh. Death. You need the law and you walk in the law when you are walking in the flesh. But when you are walking in the Spirit and the Spirit is within ye, how dare you tell a person if they have the Ruach HaKodesh, they need the law of the flesh? The law of the flesh has no dominion over the Spirit that rests therein. The difference from Torah law and the law that we're in now, they didn't have him in them. Huh. Hallelujah. But how dare we connect the old law with the law of today, which is from the New Testament? When Christ came on the scene, which is all power, all things had to buckle up. We cannot dare stand around and say Yeshua came, Yeshua HaMashiach came, and it is vain and it is vast. How do we rip that away from out of the minds of the people? Instead, we keep teaching people, trying to destroy people with these commandments and these laws. The one who created the law, the one who created the commandments living in us, and now we're going to have to uphold his law and his commandment when all his power resting in us. What kind of rat mess is that? When you used to hear the Christians talk about we are not under the law, they were 100%. No, I ain't going to say 100. I give them 70. These Hebrew Israelites is a lot in the truth ain't in them. They are those that denomination, that religion that's coming to cause the great falling away, not to the heathens, but to the children of the people. Well, why would you say that, Deborah? Because looking at Hosea, he called them, my people perish. Because they don't have any sense to understand knowledge. They rather understand man's way. Now, let's go to Romans chapter 8. I'll be right back. Romans chapter 8, verse 2 through 4. I'll be right back. Okay, we're coming from Romans chapter 8, verse 2 and through 4. Now, what is happening is this. I put my foot in my mouth and it went all the way down to my throat. And I woke up this morning and realized what I was telling people. Study the right hand and stretched out arm. You'll find out way back in the beginning, this power that rests therein is Christ himself. Okay, and what you'll find out is, why is it the Bible says, and they denying the power therein? Because in everything from the old to the new, even to the year of 2021, they have denied the power. And I'm sick of being on this devil platform teaching, and then the people don't have no sense of the power. The power is what's got us from A to Z. Z to A. I know we don't know where we going, if we gonna even get there. But in reality, there is the power of the Father's right hand that's greater than any and everything that's on the face of the earth. Even Yeshua couldn't come down until he made the earth what he wanted it to be with his right hand. Okay, now let's go to Romans chapter 8, verse 2 and 4. Let us read verse 2. For the law of the Spirit of life is Christ. Let me say that. Let me explain that. When you read of the law in Hosea, that was the law of the flesh. In Romans chapter 8, verses 2, this law is the law of the Spirit, which is Christ. The law of the Spirit has a law, and the flesh has a law. The laws that are before us are for those who are under the law and in sin. But those that are under Christ is no longer under the flesh law, but under the Spirit law. Oh, hallelujah. They lost without a cause and still going to be. It's a sad thing. Thousands of years back in Hosea, they was lost without a cause. Here it in the year 2021 and still lost. Okay, let's go there. Romans 8, chapter 2. For the law of the Spirit of life. You know what that life is? That's that breath of life that Yah controls. That is his image. Okay? In Christ, Yeshua. You see here where you see Christ first, Yeshua secondary. You know why that's there? It wants you to understand in this situation, the power come first. You see? Christ is the right-hand power of Yah. And he said, watch this. For the law of the Spirit of life in the power of Yah. Christ has made me free from the law of sin and death. You see? Yeshua has made me free from the sin of the law of sin and death. Why? Because the law of sin and death is in the flesh. But once you become accepting Yeshua HaMashiach brings you the Ruach, and now you're not under the law of the flesh. You're now under the law of the Spirit. And it is nothing to do with the law of the flesh, nor of the laws of Torah, nor of the laws of the old. It is a new sheriff in town, and his name is Yeshua HaMashiach. Now you're under his law, which is in the Spirit. Now it tells you this. In Romans chapter 8 and verse 2, it says, Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua, have made free. You see that? The reason why they put Christ first and Yeshua second is because the power had to do this. It took the power to make this to be. It's letting you know how Yeshua blood brought you from the sin of death through the power of Christ. That's why you see Christ first. Yeshua have made me free from the law of the flesh of sin and death. Because that's the law of the flesh. And Yeshua's blood is what made me free. But through the power of Christ, he have brought Yeshua's blood to free me from the law of sin and death. The law of sin and death is for the flesh. What do the flesh do? It die. Do your spirit die? No. Even when it goes into wherever, it's for eternal. Even the lake of fire is eternal. They don't die. Verses 3. Listen to this. Romans 8, chapter 3. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh. See, the law that Moses gave, that Yah gave them back then, the flesh overpowered it. Why do you think they was going around burning everything, sacrificing everything? If a person did sin and broke the laws and everything, all they do is take a bunch of stuff and burn it up, go back, do the same sin. That's what they were doing, you guys. That's why I said, don't let nobody run you back to no Torah. As far as running back there, you use Torah and the book of the old to hear those that are sending you messages. Okay? But those that the sin and the wicked that they were doing, don't bring that mess up in here. We got enough of that here. And when what we did is we brought it through our forefathers right back where we at today. And we're doing exactly what we did yesterday. Okay, verse 3. Romans chapter 8, verse 3. For what the law could not do. No, could do. For what the law could not do. No, could do. See, that law back then couldn't do nothing. It was too weak for the flesh. The flesh want dominion. Flesh want power and authority. The flesh want to be all that and some. Why do you think these people on this devil platform trying to uplift themselves all on this devil platform to make themselves feel in the flesh that they somebody and they don't understand you are nobody? If you ain't walking in the spirit, you are nothing and nobody. And most likely, if you walking on these devil platforms, pretending you all that and some, getting glory and likes and subscribers the way to make you feel good, let me tell you something. You better understand who you walking in. Because this is what verse 3 of Romans chapter 8 says. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh. See how powerful the flesh is trying to get dominion, trying to rule and conquer and want to be this and want to be that. But see, let me tell you what it can't buckle up against. Your flesh can't buckle up against your spirit being. And the reason why people don't know who their spirit being is because these darn people that been on these devil platforms, been in these churches and been in these sanctuaries and everything, never told the people that they had two things. They had a flesh and a spirit. Ride on the spirit side. Tame that flesh by your spirit. They don't teach them that. But the Christian church used to say that. Learn to get your flesh under the subjection to your spirit. You don't hear these Hebrew Israelites telling you nothing like that. But the truth be told, it was 100. Always been. And I knew that. That's why I don't bother no other religions and everybody different races and what race did. Wait a minute. When y'all look down low, look up high, and all around, he don't see nothing but a light. Go back to John 1, the Gospel of John, chapter 1 and verse 4 and verse 5. Then swoop on down to chapter 9 and then come back and tell me something. Because when you finish making people believe, it's like you said, that's your wisdom, that's your knowledge, that's your understanding, that's your self-centered, that's your motivator. To make your videos, to get people to come running for you, to think of you, to see you, to glorify you, to praise you. Get your glory now. Because now is the time. Okay, verse 3 says, for what the law could not do. Wait a minute, hold up, back that up. You mean the law couldn't do something back then or now? It couldn't. In that it was weak through the flesh. Yah sent his son. Tell me it ain't a new sheriff in town that already been here. The Son of Man and the Son of Yah came to put that mess to the rest. To put it to rest. And we still sitting here upholding it. Talking about they got to follow the law. You ain't even followed the law. They didn't follow the law at all. That's why the Yeshua HaMashiach had to come. Because if he hadn't to come, we'll all be in sin and in death. But because Yeshua HaMashiach came, we don't have to be in bondage to sin and death. Thank you, Father Yah, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Thank you. Let's read that one more time. Romans 8, verse 3. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak. Back in the Torah and all in the old, they couldn't even hold the laws. That's what he was talking about in Hosea. That's what he was talking about. That is exactly what he was talking about. The flesh, through the flesh. Yah sent his son in the likeness of a sinful flesh. For sin, condemn sin in the flesh. That's the whole idea of Yeshua HaMashiach, y'all. And anytime people run around here telling you about the cock and picking law from the days of old, they are fool. Because the done away with it's still, no, let me get that right. The law of the old still exists for those who follow and walk therein the flesh, which is 99.9. So yes, the law still stands for them that walk in the flesh. But those that walk in the spirit, the law has been kicked to the sewer. And now the spirit that rests within. You see? So we cannot turn around and this is what's made me make sure I don't talk about the Christians, is because there's many things that Most High told me that many denominations do not have. He said there's not one, Deborah, that have the fullness. So when he said that to me, do that mean that Sister Deborah going to have the fullness? No, he's talking to me too. So he's showing me that don't look, because I was doing study in different denominations. And it led me to realize that, wait a minute, they didn't know this, they don't know this, they don't know this, they don't know this. And then here go the Hebrew Israelite movement. And now he's giving me all the fullness in that nation. And find out they so far from the left as to the right. That's why so much darkness amongst us as the tribe of Judah and the house of Israel. That's why you don't hear the whole house of Israel, the other 11 tribes, saying anything. Because they looking straight at Judah and Judah acting a fool. Judah don't even know they left from their right. The law is for those who walk in the flesh. So the law still exists, but the law is for those who walk in the flesh, not those who walk in the spirit. Okay. Let me finish 3. For that the law could not do what the law could not do, in it was weak, that it was weak through the flesh. Yah sent his son in the likeness of a sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh. Stop trying to take Yeshua HaMashiach's power. Stop trying to be the power of the Most High Yah. Sit y'all butts down. Pray that, put your face on the floor and pray that he give you the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessed understanding from his Ruach HaKodesh to teach you and lead you and guide you, because you're lost without a cause if you think for 1 minute you're going to whoop somebody with that old law that nobody back then could uphold. But you're going to bring it into the New Testament and go swing it all the way up to the year 2021 and say you under the law. That's not the same law. There's 2 laws, like there's 2 spirits. Not 2 spirits. There's 2 beings to you. Did you know that you have a flesh and you have a spirit? Your flesh is under that law. That law, when it does not have the spirit of the Most High Yah in it, If it has the spirit of the Most High Yah in you, the Ruach, then that law that's for your flesh is done away with. Now the law of the spirit rests therein. It's no way y'all gonna let the law of the flesh override the law of the spirit. I keep telling you over and over, there is two entities to you. You have the flesh and you have the spirit. Once you realize that Yah gave you a spirit, the place in which he wants to abide in you and you in him. Your spirit abide in him and he is in you, and y'all become one. Only way you're going to get to him through his ruach, because the power that rests in Yeshua, which is Christ, which is the right hand, going to usher the ruach of the spirit of Yah into you. You ain't going to get past Yeshua HaMashiach and get Yah. No, you ain't. You still going to have to go route the power to get the ruach of the Most High Yah. So, the law of this flesh, you are not bound to. So don't let nobody tell you that. Okay, now, let's go to 4. This is the law of the spirit. This is why when you walk in the spirit, you are not subject or connected to the law of the flesh. Okay, listen to this. That the righteousness of the law. Now, let me explain that. The spirit, okay, of you and the ruach the rest are in. Its law is righteousness. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Father. Hallelujah, Father. Righteousness can't rest in your flesh. It can't rest in the law that you're battling everybody with. Cross the head in that fleshly law. No, it can only rest in the spirit. So it says in verse 4, Romans 8, verse 4, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us. You see? Be fulfilled. Remember Yeshua said, I didn't come to hear all about y'all law. You know why he was saying that? He knew y'all was going to make it about the law. I come to fulfill. And this is what this is saying. His fulfillment in you, in the spirit. Who walk not after the flesh. Let's go back. Verse 4, Romans 8, verse 4. That the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh. You see, the flesh ain't got a chance in the world, but after the spirit. See, if you're walking after the spirit and the ruach is living in you, guess what? The law of what they talking about, these Hebrew Israelites, don't mean a thing to you. You're not under that law of the flesh. You're under the law of the spirit. And what is the law of the spirit? It's righteousness, just, upright. You get what I'm saying? It don't have nothing to do with the law that was in Torah or the law that was in the old. When Yeshua came, he brought in the law of the spirit. And the law of the spirit will cause the law of the flesh to cease from away from you. Okay? And it says here, it says that right here in verse 4, Romans chapter 8, verse 4, that the righteousness of the law of the spirit might be fulfilled in us. And that's what Yeshua said he come to do. Hey, don't come to me talking about no law. I come to fulfill. I'm separate from that law that you talking about. I don't want to have no dealings. I ain't coming here to destroy the law that you know of. I come to fulfill. What was that? What was you coming to fulfill, Yeshua? Tell these people what was you coming to fulfill. I come, Deborah, to fulfill the righteousness of the law in thee. That's it. Who walketh not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. That's what I come to do. So all this stuff about, oh no, if they ain't following the law, they got to be up under the law. Don't let nobody beat you down. Don't let nobody whoop you. Don't let nobody put you in captivity. Your own nation have deceived you by great numbers. Okay? Now, listen to this. Verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. The power. See, this is what I was trying to explain to y'all. People really think when the Spirit rests within an individual, that the individual is still having dominion over their inner man, their spirit. No, you don't. Because that spirit comes with one thing. No, more than one thing. It comes with power. That means ain't nothing outside of what's in you can override you. What did he say? Greater is he that's what? In you than he that's in every law that has been put out here for the flesh. Because he is the greatest. How dare we take and strip him from the power in which rests within him and make it the way man say? Let me go back to that, y'all. And that was verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. So you on here that's at the sound of my voice, you want to uplift the law as you know it in the flesh. You go uplift it. You're in your flesh. And what do your flesh do? It die. It die. Your flesh die. You see, everybody flesh die. But the law that you walk in the flesh is the law that you need while you walk in the flesh. You need that law. It was meant for you. Okay? But mind the things of the flesh, that are those who walk in the flesh. But they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. So they're not walking in your order of the law. They're walking in the spiritual order, which is what? Righteousness. It's also just. It also upright. Okay? Now, we're going to go to John chapter 3. John chapter 3, verse 6. John chapter 3, verse 6. Let's go there. John chapter 3, verse 6 through 8. Verse 3 said, that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Now, if you look, you see a capital Spirit, and you see it a lowercase spirit. Okay, it's still letting you know that when you are born of the Spirit, you are sent here to represent the Spirit. When you are born of the flesh, you are here to represent the flesh. So when you hear people trying to whoop you down and up, talking about y'all got to hold the commandment, ain't no commandment higher than righteous. Give me a commandment that's going to be way higher and more than righteousness and just. You ain't going to find me. Not one commandment going to override righteous and just. All right? So let's go back here. John chapter 3, verse 6. Wait a minute. John chapter 3, verse 6 through 8. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. A lot of people, when he said born again, is because even though you are born in the flesh, the Spirit knows that you are born in the Spirit. Okay? People that are born in the flesh is for the flesh, and that is for wicked and evil. They're born. People don't even believe that. That's why they're not going to grip that you're not under the law that they are under. See, they won't accept the power of Yah. That's what he was saying in Hosea. They deny it. They reject. They don't want to hear about his power. They don't want you to know that his power outweigh their scholars, their Hebrew language, their Torah, their knowing how to master the scriptures, all their lost books that they can bring forth. They use all of this to turn you over to them. Tell me, let me explain to you. Many of them use all these books and all these they're studying out of the Bible without any anointed and appointed understanding of the Ruach. They teaching you out of self. Flesh has that. That's why you think the law couldn't even was weak to the flesh. The law itself, the Torah, the law in the old was weak to the flesh. Y'all say, I tell you what, my power, it ain't going to be weak too. If you think for 1 minute I'm going to allow you to override my law in the spirit, you's a lie from the pit of hell. Get back over there where you belong under that law and leave my people alone. You see, because if you think the law that is given like everything else. It's given to the flesh, given the law, and the spirit is given the law. Here in John chapter 3, verse 6, that which is born of the flesh is flesh. That which is born of the spirit is spirit. Who going to tell me that the Most High don't know who is spirit and who is flesh? He said there are many, Deborah, that walks right now today. And the reason why he was able to prophesy the great falling away and the broad gate is because he know any and everything that he is sinning and beholding down here. So he's saying that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. And I know what you switch. So y'all stop trying to make it look like I'm dumb and y'all smart. Okay? Then the verse, I don't know why I got 7. Verse 7, yeah, that's 7. Marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again. He's letting you know. Only one that's going to be born again is those that are spirit, born of the spirit. Those are all the one that's been sent down here of the spirit will be born again. Why? Because when they came down here, they got confused and got caught up in the sin. Okay? And he already had it predestined before the foundation that I'm going to send a redeemer. A lamb before the foundation of the world. To what? Why did you have the lamb before the foundation of the world? Because Deborah, this is my word, not man's. I know that I'm going to have to redeem those who are born of the spirit back to me, a spirit. But those that are born of the flesh, they're going to walk down here with the devil and his ways. And the law is needed for them. The law that they talking about was in Torah. The law that they reading in the old, they need it. The Most High Yah said they need it. Because they are of the flesh. They're not of the spirit. Okay? So he said, marvel not that I say unto thee, ye must be born again. He's saying that you have to recognize me through what I've sent to redeem you back to me. That's how you know where you belong. And I already know who you are. You see, but that's why many won't accept what Deborah is teaching. Because their pastor, their bishop, their priests, their Moors, their watchers, their seers, their teachers, their prophets, their prophetess have told them that which soothed and pleased their flesh. They rather live in their flesh. I hear people talking about the mindset of the heathens, the mindset of the Gentiles. You know what I think? I think that there is a people to need to smell themselves because they don't understand. They stank worse than anybody on the face of the earth. And let me go on to the verse 8. John chapter 3, verse 8. John chapter 3, John chapter 3, verse 8. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but cannot tell hence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. When we explain that, and I want y'all to have a really clear ear to hear that. Hear this. Understand this. I just got to explaining to you how the heavens prepared you to come here. He prepared you to be born of the Spirit. When you were born of the Spirit, you came into a place where there was sin existing, meaning the devil and his. And what happened, you swam in the devil's ways, in the devil's ideas, in the devil's way of thinking, feeling, and doing things. You found not your way. You couldn't find your way. So listen to what he says in John chapter 3, verse 8. He's sending a message to you all out there that are elect. He said, if it was so, it would fool his very elect. Let me see if you can grip this. In John chapter 3, verse 8, the wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but can't not tell hence it come from. Y'all's that's born of the Spirit can't really and will not understand really their destiny. And whether it goeth. You don't know the sound. You don't know which way to go. You don't know. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. You see, he's telling you, you're born of the Spirit, but you know not your way. You know not what direction your way is. But that's why Christ came. All that power to direct you back to the bosom of the Most High Yah. You see, listen to it again. Listen to it again. John chapter 3, verse 8. It's beautiful, y'all. Study it. Say it until you get it. Listen to what he said. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but cannot tell hence it come from. You know somewhere in you, you are somebody. But you don't understand, why is it he teaching me this? Why is he showing me this? Why is he revealing this? Why is he constantly showing me what this means and what this means? Why is he giving me vision and dreams? Why is he doing all of this? Listen to what he said. But can it not tell hence it come from? You don't even know who you called to. And whether it go. You don't know if you're going or coming. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. You see, he letting you know. You might not know your left and your right. You might not know the deepness of who he is and how much he loves you, or where you originated from, or where you come from. But he said this is what expected from he that is born of the Spirit. And that's why Christ came. He came to direct you and help you find your way. And don't let these Hebrew Israelite men or women, because right now, because of their new consciousness belief now, their new religion, they running up in, trying to get others to fall away in. They have forsaken Paul. They're doing away with the New Testament. They want to call it a lie because it brought them to the point and made them a lie and show you that the truth was never in them. Okay. Okay. That's why he wants you to understand that. He wants you to understand that. Okay. So I want you to take John chapter 3, verse 8, and read it until you cannot read it no more. And if you do that, the Ruach will come into you and it will reveal exactly what he wants you to understand in that. Okay. Now we're going to Romans chapter 10. Romans chapter 10. Okay, Romans chapter 10. Romans chapter 10 and verse 1 through 7. But I'm going to I'm going to go there. Romans chapter 10, verse 1 through 7. Brethren, Yah has always, from the beginning of Genesis, when he gave Adam the first instructions and directions, been working on the hardened heart of man. They still ain't getting it. Verse 10 of Romans. Brethren, my heart's desire and pray to Yah of Israel is that they might be saved. He desired that for them. This is Paul. But listen to this. Verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of Yah, but not by knowledge. They have a zeal of Yah, but not by knowledge. That letting you know that don't let nobody tell you we the Hebrew Israelite. We awakening. They ain't nothing but being fools because they have not sat up under the Ruach. So he can lead and guide them and show them. They only set up under one another. And because of that, they still walking in darkness. Now here Paul says that they don't have it according to knowledge. Watch this here, verse 3. For they being ignorant. Now have not Sister Deborah called the Hebrew Israelite men ignorant? Did not I say that? I even told you they the ignorantest human being on the face of the earth. I really believe that. We as a nation, especially our black men, we are the ignorantest nation of people on the face of the earth. Listen to what Paul is saying. For they being ignorant of Yah's righteousness. Why are they ignorant of Yah's righteousness? Because Yah's righteousness override the law in which Torah rides on. Okay? And going about to establish their own righteousness, their own law, because the law is for their flesh, and they are under that law because it's their flesh that needs that law. Now listen to what Paul said. For they, verse 3, for they being ignorant of Yah's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness. You see? So they're establishing their own law. They're taking the law and making it what they want to be, what they want. Having not submit themselves under the righteousness of Yah. What did I tell you? They don't have the Ruach HaKodesh. I don't care if they've been on this devil platform for 60 years showing you this Bible. That's why they jump into different races. This black color, this color, they doing this and they doing this. The police did this. Because they trying to make you think they are somebody that they are not. And they are walking in the flesh. So can they lead you, or if you are born of the Spirit? Why are you all running up on the people who are born of the flesh? How do you know that they're born of the flesh? You can't say that, Deborah. You can't say that. Yes, I can. It's not one on this devil platform outside of Josh, and I don't know what's going on with him. But it's not one outside of him that gives Yah the full authority, the full power, the full glory, the full honor in the Hebrew nation building. He the only one. The rest of them, all I see is them giving themselves glory and honor. Why do you think the devil put these platforms out here with his right hand? So that they can lead you to their self-understanding. That's why y'all don't get no glory. You hear women talking about pathetic word, and you see all them with all these likes and subscribing. And I'm like, wait a minute. And what they saying is so far left as it is right. And I realized, oh, yeah, that's what you're saying. They are those who are in the flesh. See, when you learn that there is the flesh and there is the spirit, kick that soul to the curb. I don't care if you see it up in here. You see God, you see Lord, you see all kind of words. But kick that one over to the curve and just deal with spirit and flesh. Okay, now listen to this. In Romans chapter 10, verse 3. For they being ignorant of Yah's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have submitted themselves unto, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of Yah. See who y'all following? You see who you following? Yeah, they might have their head wrapped. They might have their fringes on. They might have all the books that's lost. And that ain't even in Deuteronomy 28. But they didn't went and found all the books that's lost, and now they got it all. Y'all, those are people who are what? Deception. They're using those books to deceive you by great number. And they done a wonderful job. And I say a wonderful because the great falling away has already taken place and many have fallen away. Now, verse 4, Romans chapter 10, verse 4. For Christ is the end of the law, for righteous to everyone that believes. You see what he's saying? He's saying this. Christ is the power of Yah. It takes the law of the flesh, okay, and end it because you believe in him. Get away from here. You have no more dominion over them. I'm Christ. I'm all power. Get out of here. You go over there to the flesh and be the law to the flesh, the law to the sin of the flesh. Over here, you get out of here. And that's what it's saying in verse 4. For Christ is the end of that law of the flesh. It ends that law of the flesh. For the righteousness, which is the law of the spirit, to everyone that believe. You better not mess with that power. And you better stop denying. You don't have no other choice if you're born of the flesh. See, Christ is already letting you know in Romans chapter 10, verse 4, for Christ, you don't see Yeshua. He's telling you what the power can do. He's telling you right then, you don't see Yeshua. You see Christ, because he's the power. He's the right hand of the Father. And he's saying, it's the end of the law of the flesh. For the righteousness of everyone that believe. Now, people that believe in Yeshua HaMashiach, which is that power, HaMashiach, Christ. Now you fall in believing. Now you are righteous from what y'all see you now. You ain't under that sin, that law that's for the flesh and for sin. Let's move on. Verse 5. For Moses described the righteousness which is of the law. Now see, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. The flesh has a righteousness in its law. That's why that law is for the law of those that are in flesh. They follow the law that is for the flesh. And for the flesh is it righteous for the flesh. I'm trying to explain to you the two beings walking this earth. There is a righteous and there is a unrighteous. You see what I'm saying? You have a flesh and you have a spirit. There are people who live in today that have been in this book for 50 years. There are people who've been in the church for 90. There's people they ain't nowhere near the spirit. They are in the flesh. So here he said, for Moses described the righteousness which of the law, that the man which do those things shall be live by them. The man that do what thing? Does what? Righteousness, that man which doeth those things shall live by them. The things of the law of the flesh. See, that's what Moses was about. Moses was giving them a law to keep them from doing what they were doing. They needed that because they weren't in the spirit. They was in their flesh. So it needed a law. You see, that's what that law was for, y'all. But a new sheriff stepped in when Yeshua HaMashiach came. That's something a lot of the Hebrew Israelites refused to accept. You kick their tails to the curb and don't no longer go on any pages that don't give Yah the glory, that does not give him the praise, that does not represent Yeshua HaMashiach to the utmost. Kick their tails to the curb. Okay, so that's what Moses was saying. I like that. I like that. For Moses described the righteousness which is of the law, and he's talking about the law of the flesh, that the man which do those things shall live by them. The man. He ain't talking about the spirit. The man, which is his flesh, shall live by those laws. Because that's what that law was for. The flesh. Verse 6. But the righteousness which is of faith speaketh on this wise, saying not in thy heart, who shall ascend unto the heavens? That is to bring Christ down from above. Verse 7. Or who shall descend into the deep? That is to bring Christ again from the dead. Okay. Now, right then, they're still messing with Christ. They're saying from above and from beneath. Can't nobody control that. And you know why they said from above and from beneath? Honestly, it's because they're ignorant from the dead, from beneath, from descend, and from above, bringing them down from above. But they don't understand. His power don't rumble at your mouth. You see? It's letting you know Christ. It ain't saying Yeshua. It's letting you know this is power. What are you talking about? You ain't got no dominion to say that. So it leaves it right there. Okay. Now, I'm going to go into Matthew's chapter 15. We're almost done. Matthew's chapter 15. And it reads, Matthew's chapter 15. No. Let's go do it again. Matthew's chapter 5. Matthew's chapter 5. It says, neither do men, males, light a candle and put it under a bush. They don't do that. But on a candlestick, if they got some sense. They don't take this light and put it under a bush where it can catch on fire. He said, what do? They put it on a candlestick. For what? And it gives light unto all that are in the house. So he said, he's showing you a stupidity of men do not take a candle and light it and put it under the bush. And so it can catch on fire. They put the light where the light can be seen. On a candlestick. So it can light the whole house. Verse 16. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Okay? That they may see your lights shining before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which are in heaven. See, your light will shine. Your light cannot be put a place where it's not going to shine. I have said to you all, I think probably in the last 3 years, or how I go places and strangers, I mean all nationality, but more Caucasian, they would walk up to me and start talking to me like I'm the president. And I'd be like, I don't buckle up. I don't get mad. I'm ready. Because y'all said be ready. What it mean? Have that spirit burning in you. And speak as I speak out of you. So that's what I always keep in mind. No matter who walk up to me and what they talking about, stick into the conversation. Get in it. Get in it. Be ready. Okay. Verse 16. Matthew's chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. This is the same example I tell y'all on these devil platforms. If y'all is not getting the praise, stop glorifying these people on this devil platform. Stop praising them and honoring them, and they ain't saying a cock and picking thing for your spirit, man. They just feeding your flesh to keep your flesh coming back to get them some subscribers and likes to boost their ratings. Okay, so he's saying, let your light shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify who? Yah. Do you think for 1 minute these people on this devil platform are glorifying Yah? In the heavens. It said glorify your Father which is in heaven. Do you think for really these people outside on this devil platforms and all these devil platforms glorifying the Father? You's a liar, and the truth ain't going nowhere be in your midst if you say that they are. These people are getting glory for themselves. And if you can't see it in the way they're pushing videos out, trying to get more and more and more and more. Come on. Trying to bring in topics of the world so that you can eat up on it, so that they can get the likes and the subscribers. Just a meet of gold. Let's continue. Verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law. Hallelujah. That's Yeshua talking now. Watch this here. Think not that I come to destroy the law. Why is it he's saying I'm not coming to destroy the law? Because the law is needed. The law in which he's talking about is needed. It is needed. Or the prophets. I'm not coming to erase what the prophets have said because it is needed. I'm not coming to erase nothing that is needed. Everything the prophets have said is going to manifest itself in these days. So we need those things. So Yeshua letting them know that's not my mission. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Did not he said that also in, kind of go back to Romans chapter 8, verse 4. That the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled. He's coming to put something all the way on that top to cap it out. Okay? That it would never thirst again. Okay? So in verse 17, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. They are needed. Everything the prophet said is needed for the days. They are the prophecies that Yah has suffered them to leave for us today, as well as the days to come and the days that have passed. The law is needed for the flesh of man. Because right now today, they still doing the same thing they did back in Torah. And it is needed. Look at homosexual, Lot, and everything else. It's still needed. The law is needed. Look at everything that took place then. It's still going on. Okay? But Yeshua said, I come to fulfill. Because that law is needed for the flesh. But I am the law of the Spirit. And it carries the righteousness. Okay? Verse 18. Matthew 5, verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heavens and earth pass, one joint or one title is no wise passed from the law till all has been fulfilled. What law is he talking about? That's in no wise passed from the law till all that is fulfilled. What law he's talking about? What law is he talking about? In Matthew 5, verse 18. For verily I say unto you, till heavens and earth pass away. Till heaven and earth pass away. One joint or one little title, one title shall in no wise pass from the law till all has been fulfilled. What law y'all think he's talking about? He's talking about the law of the Spirit, y'all. The Most High wants you to know that. It's the law of the Spirit. It is the law of the Spirit. shall not pass away till all has been fulfilled. That is the law of the Spirit. What do you mean by that, Deborah? Let me explain. The law of the flesh died with sin. But the law of the Spirit remaineth until all is fulfilled and the new Jerusalem is set for us. But the law of the flesh, it dies with a man when he dies. He's not bound to the law no longer. Death has no hold over him, nor do the law. So when he says, no wise pass from the law is simply righteousness in the spirit realm. In the spirit realm. Okay? Till all has been fulfilled. And after all is fulfilled, then there we are. What's next? You see? Now, Luke chapter 16, verse 17. Luke chapter 15, verse 17. And it is easier for heavens and earth to pass away than one title of the law to fail. That law is still yet. In Luke chapter 16, verse 17. That law is the law of righteousness. It is the law of righteousness. Okay? You go to 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 1. And this is the last verse. 1 Peter chapter 1. We need to stop trying to control the power of Yah. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 23 to 25. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 23 to 25. Being born again, not of a corruptible seed, but of an incorruptible, by the word of Yah, which liveth and abideth forever. Verse 24. For all flesh is as grass, and all glory of a man is as flowers of a grass. That's just like Sister tell you about all these people on this platform. They are flowers that's in the midst of them, which are grass. But what he said, the grass withered, and the flowers thereof fade away. So why would anybody want to be on this devil platform boosting up and uplifting all the things to the flesh to make themselves look good? Okay? Verse 5. But the word of Yah, of the Lord, endure unto ever. The word of Yeshua endure forever. And this is the word which the gospel is preached unto thee. So we got to get back to that gospel, y'all. We got to get back to the gospel. So I, Sister Deborah, would say it was good covering that deception of the law. And I hope that you got something out of it. I did not know it was this late, but I say unto you that I hope you've been blessed. And I hope the Most High will bless you continually in this word and let you understand this word in spirit and in truth and not in the flesh. So I say, shalom, shalom.